So, I was going to do a demo of one or two things, but first of all, is there anywhere in the world anyone would like to see a map of? Any suggestions? And we can go there, providing it's a bit of the world we've converted, of course.
Just have to pick somewhere.
I will. I was going to say, you must all be muted. Well, I think we will go to somewhere in the British Isles. How about okay, to Nottingham. Zoom in on the city centre. One of the things we've been developing a bit more over the last few years is a message protocol which allows RiscOSM to interact with other programs on RiscOS. So we have some documentation on our website about this set of messages. I'm just going to bring up the PDF here on screen. You can see it. We're updating this all the time, and it can do things like you can tell RiscOSM to open a map in a particular place with a particular scale. You can ask RiscOSM to describe the map that it might be displaying at the moment. You can the RiscOSM can find out from other applications if they've got data available. So our application Recce uses this. Sorry, I perhaps ought to just check how many folk have we got here, and do you know what I'm talking about when I say RiscOSM, or has anyone not actually seen this application at all? If you don't know RiscOSM, could you shout up? And I will do a little bit of a basic introduction.
I think we all know.
Good. Okay. I've just found the participants list. Yes, I recognise a lot of your names.
That's why we're here.
So, yeah. So as you can see, there's a lot of different messages, and you can use them to interact with RiscOSM. So, one thing that we were doing just before the Wakefield show, which I didn't get working at the Wakefield show because I was writing it on the train and I didn't quite have enough time. We've got a little demo application here called Test Map, and we're going to be releasing this fairly soon. It's written in BASIC, so it's nice and easy to follow. And this demonstrates some of the different messages that you can use. So if we click menu, oh no, that's not the right thing I want to do. Yeah, forget the menu. If we go to find web photos and geodata, which is normally where you go to get stuff from Recce, you'll recognize, if you've got Recce, the options for Flickr and Google Street View and so on. There are two here, random points and wandering point, which have been provided by this little thing called Test Map. So if I go for random point and fetch, all that Test Map does is send back a random point that's somewhere on the map. I'll do another one, and so on. Not very exciting, but it demonstrates the message. Similarly, wandering point, if we go and fetch a wandering point, there it is. It will move about every second or so in a very, very aimless way. It really, it's just going in random directions. So that demonstrates a couple of the different types of messages that you can do. Now let's tell it to cancel updates. We don't really want it wandering about all the time. But another feature is from the menu. We can open maps in particular areas. So this basic program, has a sequence of different maps. Drat! Now, this is not meant to happen. I thought I'd updated which version of RiscOSM I was running here. Okay, ignore that. Ignore these errors. I'm sure this was fixed.
Yeah, it was definitely fixed, but we haven't updated the version on the ARMX6.
Let me just quit. I'll just do that quickly. So, I think I thought I had updated it earlier on. I just apologies.
Where you can't remember where to find the software.
This should work better. Right. So what this thing is doing now, test map, is sending messages to RiscOSM, and every 20 seconds it'll send coordinates through for a different map that it wants displayed. And the maps can vary in size. You know, the message includes stipulation about how big the map's going to be in pixels or in draw or OS units. So here we have Lord's Cricket Ground, and the messages also show the title, can control the title of the map. What's the next one? Doesn't tell you the title while it's actually drawing. Oh yes, it's Amsterdam. This one takes a little bit longer because there's many features on the map. If we're unlucky, it will. Oh no! Oh, that's good. I have a feeling that might be because it's been asked to redraw another map before we got to the end. But dearie me, that's yeah. So it's starting again. It's doing some more maps. Anyhow, that's just a little demo of software crashing and this little basic application. So we'll try and get it working accurately in the next week or so and put it up on the web. So I'm just going to scroll down and you can see what it's doing. This bit about opening different maps, as you can see here, it keeps a variable called demo position, and then depending on where we've got up to, it will be opening with a different center, latitude and longitude, different scale, and a different title. So here we are back at the start of the sequence with Spaghetti Junction, and next it will be moving on to the Tasman Railway, and then Berlin Zoo. We must have missed Berlin Zoo with it crashing earlier on, I think. But anyway, so there's lots of possibilities with these messages in terms of controlling the software. For one thing, you can very reliably reproduce maps that or update maps that you've used before by controlling it this way. So it'd be great to see if anyone has ideas as to how to use this, and if the features of the messages, if there are more features that you'd like to see in the messages in order to be able to control RiscOSM further, then let us know, and we'll see what we can do. We don't always respond as rapidly as people would like, I'm afraid, but yeah, we're very interested to hear what people would like to do with these messages. Right, anyway, I better get rid of that piece of software. Well, actually, it's I can turn that off. But yeah, once it's working a bit better, we'll put it up on the web, and that will be a useful reference for people who are wanting to use these messages. So next, we're going to go back to Nottingham. Zoom in nicely. Because another little application we released recently, which uses these messages, is BusWatch. So about 3 or 4 years ago, the bus operators were required to provide live updates of bus positions all across England. Oh, yes, wrong window. Sorry, I have to apologise for this. I'm running this across the network via VNC, so the responsiveness isn't quite as good as it would be normally for RiscOS. Let's make the map size a bit bigger, and we'll go and find web photos and geodata. And I thought I had run BusWatch, but obviously it didn't run because the double clicking is a bit unreliable when using VNC, especially when RiscOSM is hogging a lot of the polling of the WIMP to redraw its map. So let's just give it a moment. With a bit of luck, we'll be running soon. Right, so here is BusWatch. Go back to the find web photos and geodata, and you'll see there's Department of Transport Bus Open Data Service as an option. If we click on that, it will go and fetch the locations of the buses as they are at the minute. And these will be updated every 5 or 10 seconds. Depends how many buses you've got on screen, how quickly it will do the update. Now, this illustrates actually a little bit how sometimes when we develop new features, it's an awful lot more work than you might think. So I started writing BusWatch, I can't remember when, but we've got the message protocols working for sending through moving points to RiscOSM. But once I'd got dozens of buses appearing on the map and being moved about, we discovered that the redraw in RiscOSM for moving points across the map was really slow. So poor Hilary had to do a lot of work rewriting RiscOSM to respond more swiftly when just small areas of map need updating. So that took, I don't know, probably a couple of months of work on and off to get things right. And there were a few bugs. There may still be a few bugs left in the latest version, because turns out that when you rewrite all your redraw routines, then turns out that some things don't get redrawn properly because you've forgotten to make them work in the new method. So do keep reporting the bugs, and we will keep fixing them as fast as we're able to. So, other plans for the future. I'm not sure what we've got actually beyond releasing BusWatch. There are a few more features to add to Recce that we're thinking of. I suppose actually it'd be really interesting to hear from people what you would like to see in the software. Apart from making it faster, I think we've done a lot of work on making it faster in the last couple of years. I don't think we can squeeze an awful lot much more out of it, but you never know. Any other ideas or particular niggles or things that people would like to know how to do? Do speak up or put something in the chat.
no ideas, but I couldn't quite see the point of that wandering thing that pointer that you showed us.
Oh yeah, well, it's just a little demo, really. The point is, if you wanted to write something like bus watch, where points move across the map, you might want to know how to do that. So the test map application includes a wandering point example, so that I mean, the one in test map is just a random point which then moves about in a random way. But if you were writing a piece of software which, for example, listened out for signals from aircraft radio which give their locations and plotted them on the map in real time, then you'd need the same sort of code. We can't help with how you read the signals from aircraft via radio, but if you can do that bit, then the examples in test map would allow you to send the right sorts of messages through to RiscOSM to make a point move across the map in the right way. That's basically all test map is. It's just a sort of demo of the capabilities of the messages, so that if you're wanting to write something a bit more useful, then you've got some examples to go on.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other comments or suggestions?
Could it be used for train times?
No, that's something that would be quite interesting. There is live information about about trains across the UK available from an API, from a programmer interface. But the problem is that it doesn't actually give you latitude and longitude for the trains. It tells you what block sections, the UK rail system is divided up into blocks and only one train can be in each block. It tells you what block section a train is in, and not an awful lot more than that. Maybe it might tell you about how far along a block the train is, but unless you know where that actual line is, it's very hard to plot it on a map. So that's something that would be great to do, but we don't have the data, unfortunately.
Have you got the guys out there got Kevin Wells programs through train times and bus times, because they link very well to RiscOS mapping?
Yeah, I think I've got an earlier version of the KevSoft bus times sitting here.
Train times is now at 1.18, and you can click on the each station in the timetable and get a map link.
That's right.
Your map comes up.
And it would be quite nice to make it go the opposite way as well. So we've got, obviously, if you control click over Nottingham here, there's a live departure board option, but that goes to the Train Times org website. It would be quite nice to be able to make it jump through to the KevSoft application. So one thing that would be one way of doing that, I mean, what he would need to know for his application is the code for the actual railway station. So if you hover over the railway station here, you'll see it's got a code which is NOT, that ref CRS, I think is the one, and also there's a Naptan ATCO code. If you go a bit further in and look at, if we dive further into the map so we can see actual bus stops, then you've got a similar sort of thing with the bus stops. Just waiting for one to appear. There's bound to be quite a few around the centre of Nottingham.
In this train one, if you get a timetable up and click over a station, you get three options: National Rail Inquiries, Wikipedia, and Map. The map takes you to your map. And Wikipedia gives you a picture of the station and all its details.
Yes, so it's good. It's a nice application. So yeah, I saw the announcement a week or two ago. So what would be quite nice would be to be able to link. I mean, he's done a good job of linking to the map. It'd be great if we could kind of link the opposite way as well. I'm just trying to find a bus stop which actually has the right sort of data on it. Not all bus stops on OpenStreetMap do, but here's an example. So it's got a NAPTAN ATCO code and a NAPTAN code, the digits and the letters and so on. These are the things that are needed by the bus times application for it to be able to open. So one possibility would be if we devise some way to allow applications to register an interest in certain tags on the map. You know, maybe we could provide a way for an application to say, I can provide something for NAPTAN ATCO code, and then RiscOSM could add it to its menu. You know, so when you control click, it would allow open in pling bus times or that sort of thing. So it would be quite good to be able to devise a way of communicating both ways there, and be very happy to work with anyone who's interested in doing that kind of thing, because the more that stuff can join up, the better, really.
How did you get the NAPTAN thing from the bus stop? Because I'm looking at, did you click on the bus stop or control click or what?
I've got the little info thing, you see top left, the eye.
All right, yeah.
And then when you hover over things, it will show you the
right, got it now.
It'll show you the underlying OpenStreetMap data. So it's a very useful feature if you want to know how full the data is, because obviously we can't display everything on the map.
No.
And some of the bus stops will have those codes and some of them won't. I mean, because it's got that code, I can control click and it will open up the live bus stop departures from a website that's intended for mobile phones, you see. So
yeah, I've got next buses up. Yeah, that's brilliant.
But it's obviously the KevSoft application does similar sorts of things, but in a different way, and it's got more options for export potentially, I guess. Yeah, so hovering over any feature, you know, you get the postcode very often of buildings. There may be, you'll see that we've got details. It also shows you extra information, like, you know, what is the area of the building and the perimeter of the area that you're hovering over, that kind of thing. It's amazingly varied. You know, this one here says it's a grade 2 star listed building, all that sort of stuff. In fact, it's got a Wikidata link, so we may be able to find extra information via Wikidata. You'll see there's a link to a church website, to Google Maps, you know, Wikipedia and so on. So I mean, when we first started producing RiscOSM, of course, one of the great advantages of it was you could have all of the map on your actual machine and you didn't have to be connected to the internet to use the map. But we've been adding more and more features over the years where having the internet access on top of that gives you so much more. So Wikidata lookup gives you links to all sorts of different websites, and that's looked up on the spot via Wikidata. Any other comments or thoughts?
It's just one little question. Can you try these bus maps work in the middle of London somewhere?
Oh yeah, let's go to the middle of London. Why not?
It's just that it worked a few days here, but I don't get anything in London anymore.
Oh, that's interesting. Let's go to let's have a look. One of the things that you might find, I think it's meant to put up an error if there are too many buses returned. We've got a limit on the number that it will actually display at once. I think it's about 200. And beyond that, it doesn't fetch them. So if you zoom out too far, it may be that it won't display the buses. There is, however, sorry.
Can you see any buses?
Not yet. No. That I would have expected them to start appearing even before the map is finished.
Well, yeah, usually they appear before the map even starts. So I think some transmission has gone wrong or something.
Well, I imagine that what's happened is that the Transport for London feed into the bus open data service is broken.
Oh, there's another one appeared there in the middle, isn't it?
Sorry? No, that's just the pin for showing.
That's your pointer. Yeah, okay.
I mean,
it's quite wide. It's sort of not everything roughly the size of M25, but it's not actually M25 that's doing it. It's something's inside work.
So here's Brighton.
Don't work.
We're immediately getting buses.
Yes.
It must be that
they can't be your fault, can it?
the feed is broken, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
How annoying.
It's a few days now, but
they've given up because of the strikes.
We've got a new feature actually with the whoops, where's it gone? Come on. The latest version of Bus Watch which I think is up on the web. Can't quite remember. We've now got an optional search term for the buses, and you can, when the thing finishes drawing its map, we'll be able to click in here, perhaps. Yeah. So if I just want to see maybe buses 2 and 7 and not get updates for the rest, then I can put in 2 and 7 and fetch, and that should only fetch updates for those 2 buses. So if you know your bus numbers that you're interested in and you're wanting to follow them over a wider area, then it's possible to filter by the bus number now. Not quite sure what will happen actually, because of course we'd already asked it for all the buses in the area. So I can't remember whether it stops getting the rest or whether it's something you need to do at the start.
I think you have to tell it to stop, as far as I remember.
Okay, right, we'll do that. It'll start being more responsive in a moment because the map is nearly drawn.
Anyway, I gather LSR's talk is starting in whichever room he's in. So if
Yeah,
anybody wants to go, feel free.
To get the enhanced geodata and photos menu, do I update the whole program or just the recce bit or what? Or are they separate downloads?
Recce and BusWatch are separate applications that you can download, and their services appear in the Find Geodata menu. Right. Essentially, it's all part of the same messaging protocol. So the WIMP messages that can go between different applications,
yeah, I've got Recce. I just probably need to update it. My latest map is 2.07. Is that the latest one?
RiscOSM's got up to about 2.12, I think, because I kept fixing bugs.
I haven't been keeping up.
Yeah, I've not been announcing it because every time I release it, I find another bug and then fix it. I do 2 releases on the same day. I'm not sure 2.12's made it up yet.
Well, 2.13 is what's on our computers. Yeah, and
not beta, they're alpha, so they're safe to download,
are they? 2.13 up in a minute.
Recce is up to 1.07 in January, and then BusWatch was released at Wakefield. Yeah, so
I couldn't get to Wakefield. That's the far north from me. Right, I'll do some updating later.
So I think you'll see now I got rid of the other chunk of buses, but we've now got buses numbers 2 and 7 updating and moving about in the Brighton area, or at least they ought to be moving about, but I haven't seen any of them move just yet. Anyway, yeah, so essentially it's just we've released 2 or 3 different little applications that help RiscOSM now, but they're done in a modular way. And the idea is actually that if you use these message protocols, you could talk to Recce yourself or to Buswatch yourself and get the bus information and use it in different ways. It doesn't have to be with a mapping application. So the message protocols will work with other applications if other applications want to make use of them. So we'll be putting the test map application up sometime soon, I hope, and that will give people a better idea, along with the documentation that we've already got. It'll give you a better idea about how to build things that talk to RiscOSM. Have any of those buses moved yet?
I saw them go. They
Did
definitely
you?
went
Oh,
about
yep,
20
yep. There they go. There they go again. Right. Excellent. And I'll just check whether they've got their destinations. That's good. Yeah, amazingly, until recently, this bus API didn't actually give you any information about the destinations of the bus other than the code number. So we had to write something to look up the code number somewhere else. But just recently they've improved the API and it does give you a destination. It's not quite as nice a destination as what we had got from this other source. So we're still using the method we've come up with. And in some parts of the country, it even tells you how full the bus is. I'm not totally sure how they do it, but I think it's probably via a little camera on the way into the bus, because I've seen them.
Our bus stops say quiet or busy as the bus approaches.
Ah. Oh, just some debugging happening there. That's interesting. What's throwing that up? Yeah, that's RiscOSM throwing that up. Okay, that's all right. Well, here's bus number 7 in Durham. Possibly. We'll just get all of the buses. Quite near the bus station here, so we should get a decent number of buses in a moment. Well, I just thought we would. Let's just try again. Oh, sorry, the number 2 is still there. Right. Here are the buses. Now, you see the Go Northeast ones, they say things like 0 of 23 seats occupied, 0 of 45 seats. Some of them might even have people on if we look around a bit. It's the trouble with the bus station, they're probably just all emptied out. Yeah, but I think on the way into the Go Northeast buses, there's a little camera on the way in, and I think it's probably just counting people's heads. It's probably got a Raspberry Pi in it doing something like that with computer vision. Very easy to do nowadays. We're not seeing any evidence of anyone being on any of their buses though. And the other thing we're planning to do, I mean, test map is just a piece of BASIC which interacts with RiscOSM. That's all it does. But we've also started working on a little BASIC application which talks to another API online. And one of the difficulties with working with APIs online is you usually have to have some kind of developer key, which is then meant to be secret and private to you, which makes it a bit hard to release software that's kind of open source, where that might then become visible to other people, because it's difficult. But there is an API from the police services in the UK, which is free and doesn't require a key. So we're looking at implementing something with that, which would then allow you to see crime data for your area, just in case you want to get too scared to go out.
Does it tell me if they've caught up with me yet?
Well, it does seem to have information about, you know, when they decided not to prosecute because it wasn't worth their while, you know. So you might, you know, if you find your own misdeeds on the map, you know, you'll be able to see if they decided not to bother. So, you know, could be useful. Well, any other things people would like to see while you're still here? Of course, I can't tell whether any of you are listening, apart from the person who's chuckling away.
That's me again.
Ah, Chris, yes, I can see your microphone symbol moving now as well. I've found the participants window, so yeah. I'm just wondering whether there's anything else fun to demo in here. Have I shown people? Let's just see what the weather's going to be like, shall we? We've not done that for a bit. Met Office weather. Ah, yeah, actually, there's a nice little thing I could demo, which
I was going to say something earlier while you're thinking.
Yeah, go on.
Dave Barris commented that he tried to download OSM Converse and it said it was 0K. I fixed that. It was just pointing at the wrong file.
Oh, great. That's good. So I'm going to go. Let's just quit bus watch because I don't want it interfering, and we'll quit Recce as well. There's the weather forecast. It looks reasonably good. I'll go out this afternoon. Right. Anyway, we'll quit Recce, and I'm going to open a map in the middle of nowhere. Literally in the middle of, well, not latitude, not longitude. I'm going to set the scale to 1 in 500 and we'll draw the map. Now, this doesn't look very interesting, but I'm just going to find a file. Where are we? So on the hard drive, we have, oh, trapped. I've got the wrong file. I need to draw a file. Wait a minute. So I got sent an interesting document a while back about some proposals from the council for a junction near us. Now, you may not know, but you can now drag an arbitrary draw file onto the map. and it will just plonk the contents of the draw file on top of your map. I got this drawing from the council, and it's a 1 in 500 scale, as it says somewhere down here. Possibly slightly off the map. Yeah, it's 1 in 500 anyway. So what I've done is I've opened a map showing nothing in the middle of nowhere at 1 in 500, because I wanted to take some measurements off it. And it's quite difficult doing this in Draw or Artworks or something like that. Even in ProCAD, I found it really hard to take measurements. So if you want to know how wide they're going to make the road here, you can click and draw a line with RiscOSM, and in the area at the bottom, it's showing you drawing new track, length 8 meters, and the panel, the pane underneath the window. You see, now this highlighted a slight problem with RiscOSM. It only gives you whole meters, so if you want it to be really accurate with your measurement, it's not going to do it for you. But the other nice thing is we can draw areas. So I wanted to know, oops, let me just cancel that one. Right, so if you want to know the area of a building, or maybe the area of a junction, something like this, you can draw around and actually get the area of the areas shown down in the information panel at the bottom. Oh, I've gone and finished, but anyway, so that's this area here that I've just drawn out on the map, which I'm now totally unable to select. Let's go back to the pins and tracks. This is a bit rough at the edges because I know why it's taking ages to open the pins and tracks. It's because it's trying to draw a thumbnail of this draw file, which we plonked onto the map. And the draw file was quite complicated, as you can see. But anyway, the basic point is, it's going to fail again. The basic point is that if you load a plan that's at a particular scale into RiscOSM, when RiscOSM is showing a map at a particular scale, at the same scale, then effectively you can take measurements off that plan in quite a nice way. So as you can see, it's showing this area is 926 square meters with a perimeter of 139 meters. And I don't know any other tool that I have on RiscOS which does that quite so easily. So it's not perfect. It could be improved in various ways. If you were going to use it for this sort of operation regularly, we might do a bit more development of RiscOSM to make it slightly easier to do this kind of thing. But it was something I needed to do a few weeks ago, and we realised, oh, here's a use for RiscOSM. Never thought of that one before. This draw file is too complicated for this machine to cope with. It's our ARMX6, so it should be doing reasonably well, but you know, you can get very, very complicated vector diagrams from other applications. Yeah, it's all white, said Vince. Yes, it wasn't Antarctica. It's on the equator in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, I think. We haven't got any map data for there, so it's just showing nothing. It's just, I mean, actually, when I first tried it, I overlaid it on the actual real junction that I was wanting to look at, but then it just got in the way. And as I was only wanting to take measurements from their drawing, I didn't really need the OpenStreetMap information. But it was quite nice because this actually is the building I work in. And it was on OpenStreetMap with this slightly, you know, this complicated edge to it. And they lined up beautifully, actually. So it was quite impressive. Okay, Vince, sorry. I don't know. I wasn't getting the joke there. We did have a suggestion, I think, from one of our sons that we ought to put a little Easter egg into RiscOSM so that if you go down to Antarctica, it doesn't display a map, but it should display some penguins or something. That would be quite good. But we've not done it yet, so don't go hunting for them.